Hello, caregivers and friends. We are currently in Season 3 of Caregiver Tea Time, and it's called Let's Get Spiritual. This is the fourth and final episode of the season, and I have called it Beautiful Connections. I'm going to share a couple of stories about the spiritual connections my husband Paul and son Loren made with me after they passed away. I'm also going to introduce you to Spiritual Directors International. They describe themselves as a learning community that supports spiritual direction and spiritual companionship for all who are on the journey. A few months ago, I used this group to find Beth, my new spiritual director. We meet by Zoom every other week, and I'll say it's already been a miraculous experience. I feel these events confirm my belief that there's a beautiful spiritual aspect to life. Something powerful and loving that is always there for me when I seek to find it. And when my life feels dark and scary, I know there's a source of love and light that overcomes the darkness. And I hope these stories are encouraging to you. If you've had similar experiences, I hope it will confirm your own beautiful connections. And if not, maybe this will help open your eyes and heart to recognize a beautiful connection of your own. This gift of love from a powerful spiritual level is something I still need to be reminded of every day. Please listen on as I'm excited to share these stories with you. Have you ever encountered a bird like a cardinal or chickadee that came close to you and it just hung out, and you wondered, what is this about? I remember a cardinal kept coming to my bedroom window several times after my mother-in-law passed away. Or have you noticed a hawk or an eagle soaring overhead in the sky when you've been thinking about a loved one who recently passed away? I believe that somehow my husband Paul and son Loren spirits visited this earth in the form of an eagle. After attending my husband's memorial service, several people came up to me to ask if I saw the eagle soaring overhead as they were leaving the building. They made a point to tell me they thought it was Paul, and I thought so too. My Aunt Jan shared how fitting she thought it was that Paul would visit us in the form of an eagle, such a strong and regal bird, one to be there to watch over his family. Earlier that same morning, at the graveside service, the eagle was there. As we were standing up to leave, it took off and headed out with us to the memorial service. One beautiful day, I was walking outside at our farm when a low-flying eagle surprised me as it soared around the corner of the barn, right near my shoulder, and then it flew off to the west. It all happened so fast, but I wondered if it was Paul, surprised to be caught checking out the farm. Another time I was in my car on the way home from church when an eagle flew alongside me for several miles as I drove down this country highway. I thought he must be getting tired, and then about then he veered off to the south and I watched until it was out of sight. Another time I was at a car dealer trading in our old Buick LeSabre for a spunky little Jetta. And I was getting ready to sign the papers when I looked out the big picture window to see an eagle soaring overhead. I kid you not, I think it was Paul checking out the car I just bought. I didn't think he would mind because we did have a little Jetta years earlier when we were a family of 4. Then it was the sweetest thing when several years later, 2 eagles visited my older son and me at the farm shortly after Loren passed away. The farm was where Paul had grown up with his parents and 6 brothers and sisters, and it's where we raised our 3 children. My older son had come home to be there for his brother and me, and he was staying a few more months after his brother passed away. We were sitting in the yard late in the afternoon looking out over a farm field across the road. It had just been harvested, and we had a clear view for miles. And then from quite a distance, heading our way, we noticed the broad, strong movements of the wings of two eagles. It was an unusual thing to see, two eagles at once and way out in the country. Soon they were upon us, and one landed elegantly in a large larch tree close by. Then the other one sort of crash-landed in the next tree. There was the sound of branches cracking and breaking until the bird found one that could hold its weight. And that would be Loren, learning by trial and error, and that would be his dad standing back to let him figure it out for himself. My older son and I looked at each other with quite surprised expressions, finding it hard to believe this was really happening. And I have no idea how this works, but somehow there was a connection between two immortal souls in eagle's wings and two earthbound ones. And I was there with my son as a witness, experiencing it all with an open heart. I want to share a very personal story of a vision I had. It's so clear in my mind, it's as though it happened just yesterday, even though it was over 15 years ago. My husband had passed away in the hospital after spending just a few short hours there. I think in the days leading up to it, we knew the time was coming, but I was still surprised when it was over and he had passed. As I prepared for the funeral, I knew I needed to take care of myself, and I was able to schedule a massage. I'd been seeing a wonderful massage therapist who had strong spiritual intuition. I was laying on the table getting ready for her to start the massage. My face was in the donut-like thing at the end of the table. It's where you rest your head when you're lying face down on your stomach. And my eyes were closed. I just couldn't keep back the tears, and they were dripping onto the floor below. And then I felt this presence just to my left and next to my head. I had my eyes closed so I couldn't see it, but I could feel the energy. And then it was communicating with me, and I knew it was Paul, and he was so excited to let me know something. During our marriage, we didn't discuss spiritual things much. Our beliefs differed, mine were strong in a specific way, and he didn't think the same way I did. Now that he was on the other side, I could sense he was saying he was sorry. He said, "Now I'm seeing what you've been talking about all along." And then I had a vision of his spirit as a bright white light shooting into a twilight sky like a rocket, and ashes of the old were falling away like dust. I just knew he must be headed to a wonderful heavenly place, and he wanted me to know that what I believed about it was true. The next day, my massage therapist reached out to me. Although she usually doesn't share spiritual things she notices during sessions with her clients, there was something she needed to tell me. During the massage, she said she saw a strong, energetic presence, and it was saying, "I'm sorry." She felt like the presence wanted her to give me that message. Well, after a nearly 25-year marriage, the words "I'm sorry" can mean a lot of different things. But I think I have an idea of what he meant, and I felt the love behind it. Well, I can't believe it's time to wrap up Season 3. And since it's called Let's Get Spiritual, I can't think of a better way to bring it all together than to share with you a way that you can find a real, live, loving, earthly and human spiritual companion. Whether you're a caregiver or just have a caring heart, you know that there are troubles in this world, and finding a spiritual companion to walk alongside you is an amazing gift. I recently called my pastor, Deborah, from years ago to ask how a person finds a spiritual director. I knew she had met with one regularly. She told me about a directory called Spiritual Directors International. At their website, you can find a spiritual director to meet with by phone, Zoom, or Skype, or you can search for someone local who will meet with you in person. I chose to meet virtually with Beth. I read her bio, and it sounded like we would be a good fit. Recently, I've been struggling with decisions to make about the farm and where to live, and my time with Beth has been most helpful. She reads scripture, and we have a prayer, and then we have a quiet time for listening until I'm ready to begin. This helps me stay on track, and this also gives me direction. She asks me questions that help me concentrate and listen to what God might be trying to say. When I feel stuck, just her presence praying for me in real time and after our meeting has led to wonderful breakthroughs. Beth and I prayed about finding a new place to live here in New York, and then the perfect apartment finally came through. Anyone can find a spiritual director or a companion through Spiritual Directors International. You can filter the results by your faith tradition and by issues that they specialize in. I will provide a link for that on my website, caregiverteatime.com. I appreciate your listening to my season about getting spiritual. I sense that discussions about spiritual things can be uncomfortable at times, so I feel grateful to have the opportunity to share my stories with you. And here's my special message. It's so easy to get all wrapped up in caregiving worries, fears, and feeling lost. The truth and the power of the Spirit can be difficult to find at times, but it is there. So when it gets dark and stormy, I encourage you to take that deep breath, reach out your hand and say, "Help!" The love and light will always be there to show you the way. Cheers!
Nothing but the good things, nothing but the good things in this world, living in my heart. Nothing but the good things, nothing but the good things in this world, living in my heart. Living in my heart. Living in my heart.
Caregiver Tea Time was recorded at the Coop Studio, Irvington, New York. Engineered by Sammy Wags and produced by Bianca Grooves.